You meet someone, the chemistry is undeniable. She's engaged, she's texting back, she's laughing at your jokes. Then one day, without warning, she pulls away. The energy shifts, the warmth disappears, and you're left wondering what the hell happened. If you're a man dating after 40, this pattern might feel all too familiar. But here's what most guys don't realize. When a woman suddenly distances herself, it's rarely about you doing something wrong. It's about something deeper in the psychology of female attraction. And once you understand why she suddenly distances, you stop taking it personally and start seeing it for what it really is, a signal, not a rejection. Let's talk about what's actually happening beneath the surface, because the psychology of female attraction operates on principles that most men never learn. Research from evolutionary psychology shows us that women are hardwired to assess compatibility on multiple levels simultaneously: emotional, physical, practical, and even subconscious. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that women's attraction often follows a pattern of initial interest followed by a reassessment period. During this reassessment, she's not just thinking about whether she likes you. She's evaluating whether you fit into her life, whether you meet her needs, and whether the emotional investment is worth the risk. This is where the psychology of female attraction gets interesting. Because while men often experience attraction as something that builds steadily, women frequently experience it in waves. She can feel intense connection one week and pull back the next, not because her feelings have disappeared, but because her brain is doing what it evolved to do: protect her from poor relationship choices. Now, before we go further, I want you to think about the last time this happened to you. Can you remember the confusion, the second-guessing, the urge to reach out and fix things? Hold that thought. We're going to unpack why that urge actually makes things worse. One of the most common reasons a woman suddenly distances is something researchers call investment anxiety. According to attachment theory, when a woman starts to feel deeply attracted, her nervous system can actually trigger a protective response. Dr. Amir Levine, author of Attached, explains that even securely attached people can experience moments of relational fear when intimacy intensifies. For women, this often manifests as pulling back to regain a sense of control. It's not that she's lost interest. It's that her interest is triggering vulnerability, and vulnerability feels dangerous. The psychology of female attraction includes this built-in safety mechanism. She needs space to process what she's feeling. If you chase her during this period, you confirm her fear that getting close means losing autonomy. But if you give her room, you demonstrate emotional maturity, which is one of the most attractive qualities a man over 40 can possess. Another factor is what I call congruence testing. Women are exceptionally skilled at detecting incongruence, when your words don't match your actions, when your confidence feels performative, or when your interest seems driven by neediness rather than genuine attraction. A study from the University of California found that women are significantly better than men at reading microexpressions and detecting emotional dishonesty. So when she suddenly distances, she may be responding to something she sensed but can't articulate. Maybe you came on too strong. Maybe you revealed insecurity too early. Maybe your texting patterns shifted in a way that felt desperate. The psychology of female attraction is ruthlessly efficient at filtering out men who aren't emotionally grounded. She doesn't need to consciously decide you're not right for her. Her instincts do it automatically. Here's where it gets even more nuanced. Sometimes, why she suddenly distances has nothing to do with you at all. Women juggle complex emotional and logistical realities: career stress, family obligations, past relationship trauma, hormonal cycles, and dozens of other variables that influence their emotional availability. Research in neuroscience shows that women's brains process emotional stimuli more intensely than men's, which means they can become emotionally overwhelmed more easily. If she's dealing with something unrelated to you, a sick parent, a project deadline, unresolved grief, her capacity for new romantic energy shrinks. She doesn't owe you an explanation, and frankly, she might not even have one that makes sense to her yet. The psychology of female attraction doesn't exist in a vacuum. It exists in the messy, unpredictable reality of her life. Now I want you to pause for a second and ask yourself, how often do I make her distance about my worth? Because that's the trap most men fall into. Let's talk about what not to do when she suddenly distances. Do not flood her with messages asking if everything is okay. Do not try to logic your way back into her good graces. Do not send the "hey, just checking in" text that reeks of insecurity. These behaviors don't demonstrate care, they demonstrate fear. And fear is the antithesis of attraction. According to research from the Gottman Institute, one of the strongest predictors of relationship success is a partner's ability to self-soothe during moments of uncertainty. When you can stay calm and centered while she pulls back, you signal that you're not dependent on her validation. That's powerful. The psychology of female attraction responds to emotional independence. She needs to know that you have a life, a purpose, and a sense of self that exists whether she's in the picture or not. So what should you do instead? You honor the distance. You continue living your life with intention. You stay open without being available on demand. This doesn't mean playing games or pretending you don't care. It means understanding that her need for space is not a referendum on your value. It's information. And the information is telling you that she's processing, recalibrating, or dealing with something internal. Your job isn't to fix it. Your job is to remain the grounded, confident man she was initially attracted to. Research shows that the most successful long-term relationships are built between two people who can maintain their individuality even during periods of closeness. When you demonstrate that you respect her autonomy, you actually increase her attraction because you're showing her that being with you doesn't mean losing herself. Here's another critical piece of the psychology of female attraction that most men miss. Women are attracted to trajectory, not just the present moment. She's not just evaluating who you are right now. She's imagining who you'll be 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now. If she senses stagnation, if she feels like you're coasting, if she picks up on a lack of purpose or ambition, that will absolutely cause her to distance. A longitudinal study from the University of Texas found that women rate long-term potential as significantly more important than immediate chemistry when choosing serious partners. So ask yourself honestly, are you growing? Are you challenging yourself? Are you building something meaningful? Because if you're not, she can feel it. And that feeling will show up as her suddenly distancing, even if she can't explain why. And if you've been finding value in this conversation, if this is resonating with your experience, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. This channel exists to give men over 40 the real, research-backed insights that actually help you navigate modern dating with clarity and confidence. We don't do surface-level advice here. We go deep. So subscribe, and let's keep this conversation going. Let's talk about the role of scarcity and abundance in the psychology of female attraction. Women are more attracted to men who have options, not because they want competition, but because options signal value. Evolutionary psychologists call this preselection. When other women find you attractive, when you have a full life, when you're not sitting around waiting for her to text back, she registers that subconsciously. This is why scarcity mentality, acting like she's your only option, can cause her to distance. She doesn't want to be your everything. She wants to be a meaningful part of a life that's already rich and full. Research from the field of behavioral economics shows that perceived scarcity increases desire, while abundance decreases it. If you're too available, too eager, too quick to rearrange your life around her, you become abundant in her world. And abundant things lose value. This isn't about manipulation. It's about genuine self-respect. When you have other priorities, other passions, other relationships, you become naturally scarce. And that scarcity reignites the psychology of female attraction. Here's a truth that might sting a little. Sometimes why she suddenly distances is because she's met someone else or reconnected with an ex. This is part of modern dating reality, especially for men dating after 40. Women have options. They're on apps. They're being approached. They're navigating multiple potential connections. And while that can feel frustrating, it's also a filter. If she chooses someone else, she's done you a favor. She's revealed that her values, her readiness, or her interest level didn't align with yours. According to research from the Pew Research Center, nearly 30% of adults report dating multiple people simultaneously in the early stages. This isn't deception, it's the norm. The psychology of female attraction allows her to explore until she finds the connection that feels right. Your job isn't to compete. Your job is to be so grounded in your own value that her choice becomes irrelevant to your peace. Take a moment and think about this. What would change in your dating life if you stopped seeing distance as rejection and started seeing it as information? Now let's talk about what happens when you get this right. When you understand the psychology of female attraction, when you stop chasing, when you honor her space and continue building your life, one of two things happens. Either she comes back with renewed interest because you've demonstrated the exact qualities she was testing for: confidence, independence, emotional stability. Or she doesn't, and you've saved yourself months of investing in someone who wasn't ready or wasn't right. Either outcome is a win. Because you've maintained your dignity, your peace, and your self-respect. Research from the field of positive psychology shows that men who derive their sense of worth from internal values rather than external validation report significantly higher life satisfaction and relationship success. When you stop needing her to validate you, you become magnetic. And that magnetism either draws her back or attracts someone better aligned with who you are. As you move through your 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond, the game changes. You're not competing with 25-year-olds on looks or energy. You're competing and winning on wisdom, stability, and emotional depth. The psychology of female attraction at this stage favors men who have done the inner work, who know themselves, who aren't rattled by the ebb and flow of romantic interest. You've lived enough to know that one woman pulling away doesn't define your worth. You've experienced enough to recognize patterns, to trust timing, to understand that the right connection doesn't require force. This is your advantage. Use it. When she suddenly distances, you don't panic. You don't chase. You wish her well, you stay in your power, and you keep moving forward. Because you know something younger men don't. Your value isn't determined by who stays. It's determined by who you are when they leave. And here's the beautiful part. When you embody this level of confidence, when you truly internalize that her distance is not your diminishment, you stop attracting women who play games. You start attracting women who are ready, who are clear, who are done with drama. The psychology of female attraction responds to congruence. When your inner world matches your outer behavior, when you're genuinely at peace whether she's in or out, that alignment is irresistible. You become the man who doesn't need to be chosen, because he's already chosen himself. So if she's pulling away right now, let her. Don't send the desperate text. Don't manufacture reasons to reach out. Don't shrink yourself hoping she'll come back. Stand tall. Live fully. Invest in your purpose, your health, your friendships, your growth. Become so rooted in your own life that her presence is a bonus, not a necessity. That's when the psychology of female attraction works in your favor. That's when you stop being an option and start being a priority for the woman who's ready to recognize your worth. If this resonated with you, if you're ready to approach dating with this level of clarity and confidence, subscribe to this channel. We're building a community of men who refuse to settle for confusion, who demand better for themselves, and who are committed to becoming the best version of who they are. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and let's continue this journey together. Because your best years aren't behind you, they're ahead. And they start the moment you stop chasing and start choosing yourself.